Hi, I'm Dwayne Morton. As someone who has navigated some of life's most difficult, unlikely, and untimely circumstances, I understand what it feels like to battle those challenges alone. That's why I created Show Up to Heal. This podcast is for the people who feel unheard, unseen, and unloved. This is where you can come and hear true stories and where man can have real conversations. But most importantly, this is a place where we're creating a community so you can feel supported. I want you to feel in this community that you are seen, heard, and loved. And if no one else has told you today, I love you. Welcome to Show Up to Heal. I'm Dwayne Morton, and I'm Mr. Show Up to Win himself. And I had this dream of having 30 great speakers to come on for 30 days. And we've decided to create this Show Up to Heal series that has started a movement. And I'm so blessed to just be able to have this platform, but also have these people come on every day to help me achieve this marathon goal that I have. So this next guest is just an incredible speaker, an incredible friend, incredible mentor. And so I'm gonna read his bio. I just want to say thank you so much, James, for coming on. And you know, when you hear this bio, you understand why I'm so excited to have him on and be able to have him come on this platform. James McNeil, a 30-year veteran speaker, author, coach, and trainer, inspires millions to unlock their highest potential. Through the Superhuman Network, he pioneers pure spiritual intelligence and verbal Aikido, empowering individuals and organizations to excel in communication, leadership, and personal growth. His Superhuman Movement podcast unites those seeking light amid darkness, offering expert insights to awaken the superhero within and drive collective change. Sharing stages with icons like Les Brown, Tony Robbins, and Deepak Chopra, James has trained top financial institutions and international law enforcement in advanced communication through verbal Aikido. Committed to elevating humanity, he helps people live with purpose, impact, and transformation. I know you told me to cut that down. I couldn't cut that down because it is so powerful. People need to hear that to just understand your achievements and also understand the stages that you've been on. And so, James, I appreciate you coming on my stage. And so this first question is what I've been asking everyone. What do you think we are doing correctly with men's mental health? And what do you feel like that we're lacking or what we're doing wrong?
Sure. Well, first of all, I want to say I appreciate you and congratulations for your journey. And I love what you're doing here, and I'm honored to be a part of it. So I wanted to start with that.
Thank you.
I don't think we're doing much of anything right when it comes to men's mental health. I think we're doing about as much wrong as possible. I think we're in a desperate time right now because there was a movement of people who decided the best way to move forward in the world is to mentally, emotionally, and even chemically castrate men because somehow they're toxic and bad. And for me, it's like, yeah, some are, right? But the ones who aren't bad are the ones protecting you from the ones who are bad. And so if you tell every male they're bad for being male and they shouldn't be male, and if they're told don't protect, don't provide, don't hold the door, all of that is wrong, then they're like, okay, so what do I do? And I'm guessing it turns some guys into toxic because they're not allowed to be normal, happy, healthy, good guys. And there's no doubt there's been bad guys, but I think what we've done is produce less good guys and more bad guys. And then a lot of, I don't know, technically biological males, but I don't know how to describe. But it just seems to me like good men do good things and we shouldn't be against them wholeheartedly. And then where are the mentors? All the single mother homes and the communities that are not led with good, strong male leadership. And I'm not saying it has to be male. I'm all for women in any position that is right and good and they're skilled for and they're a good person, whatever. I got zero of that. But what I am noticing is a diminishing percentage of good, strong male leadership in the world and good examples. So I think that's extremely detrimental. So all I can think of what we're doing wrong. Sorry, Dwayne.
No, no, you're hitting the nail on the head because we're having this conversation, and you have a different perspective than maybe someone else, and it's the whole thing of just taking these perspectives and
Yeah.
being able to make a change to also help out. For me, one of the things that you pointed out was just the lack of mentorship that's in
Yeah.
these households. And so
Yep.
also, as I know your story and the family upbringing, you didn't have that strong father figure. You had a
Right.
person who
Wrong.
was strong, but definitely not in a mentorship way. Can
Right.
you share
Sure.
about that with me
Yeah.
and it just give that light with with the upbringing?
Sure. So what I'm going to try and do is summarize my journey, and I'm going to add to what I've shared. In fact, I might be sharing things I've never shared at all, but I thought about this in advance. So I'm going to try and be very efficient, but let me go. First, before I was born, my mother almost passed away while giving birth to my sister. And they said you should never attempt to have kids again. And I'm the youngest of four. So the third child, she almost passed away giving birth. And then they attempted another one and she lost the baby. And they said again, you have to hear us. There is a 100% guaranteed chance that you and a baby will not survive. Like there's 100% guaranteed that you and or the baby will die if you attempt to give birth again. There's 0% chance that you both will survive and a very high percent chance of both of you dying. Well, my parents went ahead and here I am. So I'm a statistic right there. When I was 3, I was pushed off a slide. You know those slides you climb up the ladder and you slide down the little thing? Well, I was pushed from 6 to 8 feet in the air straight down onto concrete. They didn't have a soft landing under the slide. It was concrete. And I fractured my skull, broke my collarbone. So there I was 3 years old. I don't know how long it took for them to get people to pay attention, get me to the hospital. I do know that my head swelled up like a beach ball, and they had to get my brother to stop playing with my head. They said, you're gonna hurt your brother if you keep doing that. The doctors were horrified. They said there's a 50% chance he may live. If he lives, there's a 50% chance he won't be a vegetable. So now we're down to 25% chance of that. And then they said, and if he's not a vegetable, there's less than a 50% chance that he'd be quote unquote normal. So by the time their 50-50s were done, it was a less than 10% chance that I would be okay. Then at the age of 3, most kids are speaking in sentences. I didn't speak in sentences until I was 9. I have ADHD, dyslexia, OCD, complex PTSD. I couldn't speak till I was 9. I couldn't read till I was 21. There was a pretty good likelihood that I wasn't going to be, great in these things. My father was a violent alcoholic, and he almost ended my life on a number of occasions. He had almost a split personality in that he was very macho and violent and very strong, mutant strength. He would use 350 pounds bench press to do reps of 10, just for exercise. So he was a monster of a guy. And unfortunately, he was a violent alcoholic. And then only in recent years did I realize, because I was trying to figure out why he would do certain things, and I now realized he was actually sadistic. He actually found great pleasure in causing harm. So it wasn't just when he was angry, he would do it for his own enjoyment. And he, as I may have mentioned, almost terminated me on a number of occasions. And he wanted to be a very macho guy, but he had a sensitive side or something in him. And something must have happened when he was a kid, because he wanted to kill the softer side of himself and become the most manly man possible. And then he had 2 sons. And my brother was a perfect manifestation of the macho man he wanted to be. Like, my brother never had to work on it. He just was born to beat up guys and chase all the girls and build stuff. And like, he was like everything you think about as typically male. And I was the other side, more creative, more articulate, more yada yada, less macho. So my dad because he hated that part of himself, he ended up hating part of him, hated me. So all of that to say, I didn't have a great setup to be a happy, healthy, well-adjusted person with no issues. So that's a little background. I was suicidally depressed through my teen years, and it was only by the grace of God, after my family disbanded when I was 19, that I had a spiritual awakening that turned things around. And that's when I began the quest of how to be a happy, healthy, wealthy, productive, contributing member of society. So that was the journey that got me started.
Yeah. So you had that contrast of just, this is not what I want. And then you
Yeah.
also went against all odds. You were against the all odds and just being
Yeah.
here and being born.
Yeah.
You're against the odds with the fall. And then also the fact that like you said, you weren't able to read until you're 21. You had all these
Yeah.
different challenges. You know, for the people out there that are hearing your story for the first time and really are like me, just blown away by the odds that you've overcome,
Yeah.
there's still a part of that aspect that you still have to battle every
Yeah.
day. Like that's the other part I wanted to say is like this, you're past that, but it still lingers. There's still
Yeah.
a part with, can you kind of share a little perspective on that?
Well, sure. There's lingering things. Like for an example, as a child, one of the ways that I developed a coping mechanism of disengagement or disassociation. So my environment was unmanageable. I couldn't control it. I couldn't survive it. You know, they say all children ask three questions at a very, very, very early age. Is the world a safe place? Can people be trusted? And can I make it? And my answer to all three were absolutely not. The world is not a safe place. People cannot be trusted, and I have no chance. And so that was my my beginning. So I would disassociate. I would either literally flee the building. I would be out of the house. Home was not a safe place, so I stayed out as much as I could. And if I was stuck in the space, I would disassociate. I would go to some make believe land or something. So I'm 60 now, and I still have to keep an eye on myself, disassociating from what needs to be done, where I need to be, what I need to be thinking about, because it's an easy default. You know, victim mentality is an easy default. Disassociation's an easy default. So there's a lot of things that. It's just a unique thing. I'll tell you once. Another thing. I was divorced once. My son, his mother and I split, and she and I are best buddies. It was her birthday recently. We were talking and laughing, and we care about each other. We're good co-parents. But when we were going through our rough times or divorce, we went to a therapist, counselor, and this guy was a police. Like he would catch psycho killers, and he was a psychiatrist. He actually was a policeman who got into this. And so he says, I'm going to do the most robust test on YouTube you can imagine. So we did. Long story short, he said, okay, so I've looked at your results. So what's your thing? I said, what do you mean, what's my thing? He says, what is it? Just tell me. Is it booze? Is it drugs? Is it porn? Is it gambling or whatever? And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. He says, what is your addiction? Just be honest with me. I know you have an addiction or many. I said, I'm sorry, dude, I'm boring. I got nothing. And so he kept pushing and pushing and pushing. I said, I would love to help you here. And he said, I have never in my entire life seen anyone with a more vulnerable, addictive personality that hasn't given into any addiction. And I was like, I don't know. I think it's because I watched my dad, and I don't want to be the victim of any substance or habit. And so as much as I'm a magnet for addictions, I've just said that's not, I'm not good. I couldn't do well with that. When I had my appendix out, they gave me drugs, morphine, whatever. And I knew immediately, if I allow myself to go in the world of drugs, I'm never coming back. I just knew that would be the end of it. So I've just had to be disciplined in self-awareness, self-induced cognitive therapy, and working really hard with my spiritual journey to become a safe human and a positive contribution to society.
Man, I think for me is where I'm blown away is just being able to have that self-awareness, but no, hey, like if I do this, like there's consequences. I think there's so many people that are curious. They're like, I'm curious, so I want to try this just to see how other people's experiences are. Like I
Mm,
want those experiences, but they're not knowledgeable on the consequences. So for
yeah.
you to be able to be that knowledgeable on consequences
Yeah.
to shed those uh, addictions and stuff before they even go. Um, the other aspect of you that I feel a lot of men will be able to relate to is the widow part.
Yeah.
Can you? I don't
Sure.
want to jump that far ahead. I just,
I
with
don't mind.
time's sake, I want
Yeah.
to 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 put that perspective out
Yeah.
for you because with the widow part, you know, you had told me that you had met her and y'all had a short period of
Yeah.
time. Can you tell
Sure.
me about that time and then tell me where you are now
Sure.
with that part and how can you help others?
Yeah. Thank you. So I'm 60 now. When I was 45, I finally found what I would say is, up until now, is my perfect dream girl. And she was magnificent. I was 45. She was only 28. And I wasn't a chase the young girls kind of guy. It's just, she owned me from the time I took a first glance at her. And so I thought, well, I'm going to try, even though she's much younger. And she didn't seem bothered by the age. And we fell madly in love on our first date. First date, it was like, before our first date, she thought I was just a nice, polite, safe old guy. But she didn't think there would be any passion or whatever. Anyways, we fell madly in love. And I was the happiest I've ever been in my life. Our total love story was from first date to her passing away was 2 years and 3 months. We were married 1 year and 2 weeks. And she was in perfect health, 30 years old, nothing, no warning signs, and she died of a severe brain aneurysm in seconds. And I came home and there she is. So that for me was like, I have absolutely no interest in being on this planet anymore. None. There is no reason for me to be breathing. I'm so done. Like when there was the funeral in Peru, she's from Peru. Everyone after the funeral, we do the prayers and all that. Everyone goes to get in their car, and I'm like, there is no go. I'm never leaving this spot. I'm going to sit here in front of her grave until I die. I could not comprehend the idea of living after that. And so, yeah, so that was, 14 years ago. And I've been on a journey of reattachment to the planet. And I've dated a few magnificent women, beautiful, magnificent, wonderful women. But I'm just like, I don't know. And I want to happily ever after. And I don't know how much of that loss has fully all of the implications. But for me, for my mental health, I just think if I think about how unfair this is, I'm not going to make it. I have to be grateful that I tasted paradise, and most people are never that happy. And rather than be whiny about the fact that I didn't get to keep it for all of my days on earth, I need to focus on the fact that I was happier than most anyone on earth has ever been or ever will be. I had those moments. Do I want it again? Of course, yes. But the best thing I feel I can do is be grateful. That's kind of like the best mental health angle I can take on it.
Right. Is the gratitude space and be
Yeah,
like, hey, I had this, other people maybe did not. And I think
yeah,
there's like a guilt. Some people can fall into guilt shame to that. But I believe that like you had something that, are you searching for it? That's what I was going to ask to
yeah.
bring that to, because what I see with most people who are widowed is they have this great love and then they're searching for it. And then as they're searching for it, they don't find it. And then they move on and they're still searching for that exact person, which
I understand that. Yeah.
that's what I was going to ask is
The thing is,
how does that
yeah,
work for you?
I figured that out pretty early on. When I don't know how soon that I was even open to the idea of dating or whatever, but I went to this Latin club in Mississauga. I lived in Oakville. I had a beautiful home in Oakville at the time, Ontario, Canada. And so I went to this club, and it was a Latin bar, and all these beautiful, Latinas, and my wife was Latina from Peru. And I caught myself looking for the woman who most resembled my late wife, Carol. And as soon as I caught myself doing that, I said to myself, James, she's not here. Anyone who looks like her will be incredibly disappointing because you'll expect them to be her. You must let the idea go that you're going to have her, and you must be open to what is your new perfect. What is new perfect? Because I can't go back, and all that would do is cause myself and maybe a woman a lot of pain if I was expecting to find her again, because I'm not the same man. So the perfect woman for me then isn't the perfect woman for me now. So I had to shake that off and say, I'm not looking for her. That was a perfect love story that's captured, frozen in time, where no one was able to screw it up. Maybe over time we would have screwed it up, but it was captured in a perfect stage. And to expect that same is a dangerous idea. So I knew I had to be open to whatever perfect is.
Man, I love the fact that you went and searched for that person and then had the
Yeah.
awareness to not fall into that trap.
Yeah.
And so that is very powerful. And so for the other people who have been widowed, it is, I've seen this firsthand with some of my friends. They search for the same person,
Yeah.
the same qualities, and then they expect
Yeah.
the same results. And that's not how that works at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm glad that you were able to do that. And the part with leadership and mentorship from your angle with widow, is that something that you seek out, or is that something
No,
that it just people do
that's
people come to
actually,
you?
yeah. So number one, I was shocked that the few good men who I knew had been widows were completely 100% repelled by me and had zero interest in talking to me or helping me. And I was really hurt and shocked. I'm like, come on, dude. Like, you're the only one who I can, expect to understand what I'm going through. And it just wasn't there. But then in the aftermath, as time went on, and people say, oh, this person is grieving, you know, can you talk to them? And I'm like, no, I'm not going to talk to them. And I think what it is for me, and possibly for them, is I'm not an expert. I haven't figured anything out. I'm just surviving. And I found the people who have gone through a grief like that feel unequipped to help someone else who's going through it, because everyone's journey is different. And we seem to know on some level that my journey is not their journey. So my advice might be completely opposite of helpful. And then I've also found that people who failed to complete the grieving process, so someone who lost a parent or lost someone, and they didn't grieve, they didn't go through the process, they were the most harmful people in the world. They were the most harmful people. I had to run away from them. I threw a guy out of my house. He was talking to me, and he had no sensitivity at all. And I learned that people who failed at grieving are far more dangerous than people who have never grieved. And people who have succeeded at grieving seem to know better than to think that they can help. It was that's my odd experience. But I'm sure there's some people who are really good at it. But I don't see myself as one of them.
But that's a powerful revelation. It is that part, because I thought that, hey, because you had the experience, you
Yeah.
would be able to, because you help with transformation so much. So I was like, I
Yeah.
was thinking like that would be something
Yeah.
that someone would be able to. So it's very interesting, because I know how well you empower others, and
Yeah.
also it's so much part of like the superhuman network.
Yeah.
Empowering others and becoming a superhero, those type of things.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's a
But
very
yeah, let me continue on that, only because I've also been asked a million times, oh, there's this kid with ADHD, there's this kid with OCD, dyslexia, PTSD, the parents are having trouble. What's your advice? I'm like, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, I'm just a guy who survived. But all I tell them is, would you please encourage everyone around that kid to love them as they are? That's the most important thing. If a kid can be loved, that infuses power that we cannot comprehend. If they're constantly rejected and judged and you've got to be fixed, you've got to be different than you are, you're broken, you need meds or you need whatever, or whatever, they hate them or whatever the child might feel, all of that to me is very damaging. My whole childhood, I was like, why is everyone always mad at me? Why does everyone hate me? I'm not a bad kid. Even my mom, I remember saying to my mom, why are you guys always mad at me? I said, everyone's always mad at me, parents and teachers and whatever. And my dad was a mean, scary one. So I went to my nice mom and I said, why? She paused for a long time and she said, you're annoying.
Ah.
That was the best loving kindness she had for me that day. So it's like I just had to, by the grace of God, find my way. And I just think if kids are accepted and loved as they are, that's the best thing you can do for them.
So I like to, whenever people ask me about my challenges and stuff,
Yeah.
I'm like, I need a sword, but I need Excalibur to do what I need to do. I feel like that is what happened with you. You need Excalibur, so you were longer in the forge to get Excalibur, but that's the childhood, that's the upbringing,
Yeah.
and then lo and behold, you know. Also, I'm a firm believer of divine protection. I feel like
Hmm.
you were divinely protected
Oh, I
throughout
agree.
the whole ordeal, right?
Yeah.
And it showed with the birth and
Yeah.
the all these things. And
Yeah.
so it really showed the type of impact that you were going to bring on stage to people's lives.
Hmm.
So James, man, we're coming up on around 30 minutes. And the reason I'm bringing this up is like, how does that make you feel that you've been so divinely protected throughout your life,
Hmm.
knowing unknowingly you're seeing these challenges, but also you're like the face of transformation. You're the
Hmm.
face of being on. You're been on stage for 30 years with
Yeah.
some of the all-time greats.
Yeah.
How does that
So,
sink in mentally for you and with mental health? Because there has
yeah.
to be an awareness of like, hey, I'm not perfect,
Yeah.
but I can give value while I'm speaking
Yeah.
on these stories.
Yeah. Well,
How does that land for you in the mental health world?
well, I think, well, I think one of the dangers is taking things personally. So my father's abuse, I shouldn't take personally. He had issues. Um, People's accolades, I shouldn't take personally. They're grateful. What I learned is anyone who deifies you, it won't be long before they demonize you. So people who say, James, you're the greatest, I'm like, oh no, how fast can I get away from you? Because you're going to find out I'm not whatever you dreamt up. And the moment you figure that out, you're going to blame me for misleading you. But I never misled you. I'm just a dude. So I try and be grateful for the opportunity to serve, grateful for the positive connections. And I think it's very important not to think too much of yourself, either good or bad, just to say, I'm blessed to be part of this journey and I want to be the best man I can be. And something I want to say because of your topic is mental health for men. I just want to say to all the men out there and women who love any male, um, this isn't a safe place to be a man if you can't find your wellness inside and with divine. It's not a safe planet for anyone, male or female. But if you're a man in the world today and you can't find your strength but inside yourself and in your relationship with God, however you define that, it's not good, because I think it's very unwise to expect someone to save you. I've never had a mentor that I felt I could trust that really cared about me. No one said, "Hey kid, I see something in you." No, God saw something in me, and I just never quit trying to be the man that I believe God made me to be. And so I just encourage the men. It's not fair. It's not right. Welcome to Earth and welcome to being a man. Um, and find your way and do reach out for help. But if you're counting on someone saving you other than God, you might be setting yourself up for trouble. So it's the best I got off the top of the head.
Man, but that's beautifully said. That's something that, like, as soon as you started into it, I knew in my heart of hearts, like, this is going to be powerful. This is going to be a YouTube short or something. I mean, and that's what you do, man. That's what you do. You're
Mm,
able to communicate so effectively that it lands for the right person. And so I hope that that is for today. It's hitting somebody and they're like, oh, damn, like exactly what he said is how I feel. And so, man, this is the time where, we're getting ready to cut off. I just want to say thank you so much. Thank you to the
Thanks,
listeners,
man.
but just thank you so much to be able to give so much value in 30 minutes and to be part of this podcast series, this journey. And, I didn't expect it to be like this. Like I expected it to be, people that I knew were friends that had stories and then we come on and I did not expect to have people like your caliber to come on and be able to really explain. So I don't want to be able to take that lightly. I'm so grateful for you, grateful for the friendship, and grateful
Thanks,
for
Tom.
whatever you're going to do for humanity. I really say that. And tomorrow's guest is Kelly Siegel, and is amazing podcaster, amazing human being with a great transformation story. So I'm looking forward to sharing that. So I'm so glad to be able to complete day 4. But as soon as it's like another page, to page 5, and that's the way I got to look at it. But I'm still excited as like this of being able to do this. So this is Show Up to Win presents Show Up to Heal, and this is podcast number 4, and this is with James McNeil. And thank you so much for being part of this journey, my friend.
Thanks, man. Keep going.
Thank you. Thank you for watching another episode of Show Up to Win presents Show Up to Heal. Please like, share, and subscribe. Your support means the world to me. Thank you.